Hello, welcome. Now, thank you for joining me. My name is Alberta. Ask and just encourage. Hola. Moyo iba. Bote na bino.
I can't say this is a strategy or 5 points or what to do to balance it, but I take one day at a time. God taught me that take one day at a time. What you have to do today, do it. Don't leave it till tomorrow. Tomorrow comes with its own responsibilities.
That's true. Hello and welcome to Heart with Alberta Muembo. My name is Alberta Muembo. Welcome to the first interview on this project. So today I have with me a special guest, and her name is Mrs. Olawumi Oyetuga. I am just going to read some of the things I wrote about her, but these are the things that me and my siblings have agreed on. We believe that Mrs. Oyetuga is a virtuous woman. She is also the owner of a daycare. She's a nurse by profession, and she's an author. Yes, I have one of her books here. I'm going to share it on our social media platforms. She wrote this book in both English and French, so there's a French copy for those of us who are French speakers. You can have one copy. I will put the link down below on how you can get this. One of the things that I love about this book is that Mrs. Oyetuga, she articulates her experiences in a way that is easy to comprehend and it's relatable. So if you have a copy, or when you get a copy, you turn to page 91. It's my favorite topic. It's about being a woman. Who is a woman? What does being a woman mean to Mrs. Oyetuga? And I'm not going to spoil it for you, but there's also another part in this same chapter about the definition of a woman that talks about striving to be who you are not. This sounds very familiar to me because, especially in high school, I was striving to be who I was not. I think it happens to most of us. So I love the fact also that she also quotes the Bible in this. As a Christian, I found it to be very instrumental just in my way of. So I hope you enjoy this interview. Thank you for watching. And one last thing about you becoming a pastor's wife, just a brief thing. You said that you came when the church was already functioning.
Well, it's been like 4 to 5 months operating, so it wasn't too long, but I think the expectation was just high with, we need pastor's wife to be here.
Oh.
Yeah.
And so were you from another denomination or?
Same denomination.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Same church. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Same thing. But I if I can throw this in for younger Christian,
yes,
male and female, there are certain things you'll be exposed to before you get married within the church. And sometimes we shy away from them. I remember I look at my pastor's wife from a distance. So I had no clue what their life entails.
Not knowing that.
Yeah, not knowing that I was going to end up in those shoes. So when it happened, and back then, 2004, there were no cell phones, and you sit in front of the computer, it does that sound before anything comes up. So communication was not there. So I couldn't call my pastor's wife back at home and say, Ma, what am I supposed to do? So whatever you can learn in your singlehood, learn it. You never know.
Yes.
You never know where it's going to benefit you later in life.
Wow.
Yeah. So don't shy away from getting to know how churches run, how things are done, how women's fellowship is run and stuff like that. Get involved. Know the few basic things. Yeah. They will help you sometime, sometimes in the future.
Yeah. So now I just wanted to know, how did you and Daddy meet?
It's a good thing he's not here. Yeah, it's a funny story because we got to meet during our college days, but met by accident, kind of. because his younger brother was classmate with my cousin. So I was looking for my cousin and thought it was, so him and his brother, they look alike. So I got to my cousin's place and my cousin wasn't there, and I thought I was talking to my cousin's friend. So he kept leading me on. He knew already that I thought it was the other person, until I'm finally like, something's not right. Then they all started laughing. So that's how we met on that note. How did we now end up getting married? Story for another day. But that wasn't in the picture when we first met. It was just a relationship of an older brother, and we were all, three of us were in the same year in school, different departments, but yeah.
So okay, fine. I agree that it's a story for another day, but like, how will you advise singles in church to know that this is the man that God made for me? Because as a single person, you may be, even not just single people, even prophets sometimes are may be deceived. Like, look at Samuel, a big prophet. God said, go to Jesse's house and anoint, there's someone there that's going to be king. He was carried away by the elder brother's appearances, even though he was anointed prophet of God, true prophet. So you see, now for us singles, we have preferences, but at the same time, I've heard some pastors say sometimes your preference is not what God has for you. So what advice will you give to some of us?
The first advice is, when you're praying for the person you're going to get married to, you have to be sure that you're ready to submit to God's will. God's will is something that we sometimes glaze over when we're praying, and we say, let your will be done. But that statement is loaded. Because most of the time, God's will not be your will. God's will not even check off one box out of the list of the things you've written down that you would like to see in a man or a woman. Sometimes it will not even check one box. It will not meet any of it. Sometimes it might meet some of it. And just the example you used, just like Samuel, we are humans. So the first thing when you open your eyes is the things you can see. You can see it physically, and you can see it in your mind. So you're already thinking, I'm tall, my husband must be tall. I am short, my wife must not be tall. I work in my salary is 6 figures, so whoever I'm marrying to must match up with that. So we already have all that in our minds, and some people have written them down. But if you really want to meet the will of God, if you really want to do the will of God, you have your list, and God knows about your list, but you say, God, you know my future. It says, before you were knit together in your mother's womb, I already knew you. I've preordained you. There is a glorious future for you. So God, you know beyond today. So all of these things that I've written down, if the person that would check all those boxes off will not get me to where you want me to be in my future, then that's not the person. So when you're praying for who you're going to spend the rest of your life with, you need to be ready to submit to God's will. You need to be ready to be disappointed. Because when God's will shows up and it doesn't match what you have in mind, well, you're definitely going to be disappointed, but you must make sure that you're ready to submit to God's will. Because this is what happens when we don't submit to God's will. We plan it our own way. See, it's a different thing if I want to buy a car and God is saying buy this model, and I'm like, all my friends are using this model. Well, you can buy it, and maybe down the line you realize, oh, there were some things I didn't realize about this car, blah, blah, blah. Well, you can take it back. You can sell it, right? And then go buy the one God had already told you to buy. That's an easy fix. But marriage, you're stuck. It's for life. God says he hates divorce. He says, for this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and cleave unto his wife, and they together will become one. So this is someone that it's like they're welding you together. Have you seen the movie Fireproof?
Yes.
Yeah, he put the salt shaker and I think black pepper and glue them together. That's it. You're stuck together. So even when you separate, whether by separation, for whatever reason. Why do people still mourn even when their spouse is dead? It's because they were joint. They're joint. You're supposed to do things together, think about things together, pray together, build your future together. So it's a very serious thing to go outside of the will of God for marriage. It's a big thing. So knowing the will of God and being ready to submit to it is very important. So don't pray about your future husband or wife if you're not ready to submit to God's will. Yeah.
That's very powerful. Thank you so much, Ma. Now, what will you tell people who have been married before but are now divorced and are seeking to remarry?
I see that there are differences depending on what church you go to, what the doctrine is where you go to church. The church that I go to, RCCG, says once you're divorced, that's it. But I know some churches do accept, if it was for adultery, if it was for this or for that, you can remarry. Some don't have much rules around it, but what does the Bible say? It says, stay with that person and make it work. If for any reason you have to separate, you're causing the other person to go into adultery, meaning the Bible is saying, once you're divorced, you have to stay separate. The Bible said it, not me. So that's why it's really important to pray very well before you get married to that person. Yeah, very important.
Wow, thank you so much, Mom. Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to go to faith-based questions.
Okay.
Now, like the most popular Christian verse, Bible verse that I know is John 3:16. Even atheists know it. So I want to know, what does it mean to you? Not what the Bible said, because I know many people know it, even can quote it. But to you, what does it personally? Yes. What does it mean to you?
Personally, it tells me that even though I think I'm unworthy of God's love, it's not my decision. He's chosen to love me. I am part of the world. It says, for God so loved the world. In the past, it's settled. He's loved the world. And he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him. So that tells me that if I want to enjoy this love of God, I have to believe in him.
Yes.
I have to stay in that faith lane of, Lord, I believe in you, even when it doesn't make sense to me. Even when it's not looking like it's going to end well, I still believe in you because I want to enjoy that love. God's love, it's interesting how we use the word love in a general word now. We don't even understand. I don't know. We've not even scratched the surface. Because what other kind of love can someone have for you than to give their only begotten Son, their only child, because of you? So when I wake up in the morning, when I do things, I always think back to that fact that I do not deserve to be here. I do not deserve to be doing the things that I'm doing. I do not deserve so many things, but God in his mercies decided that he's going to put me here. So to me, for God so loved the world is an important part of my life.
Yes. Thank you so much. And one last